obviously, more about the AI topic on Twitter in Vtubing. I've never seen virtue signaling backfire this hilariously. I highly doubt that. I highly doubt that. But anyway, there's a ref video. We're going in. Also, please consider liking and subscribing. I appreciate it. See, again, it's the AI topic. I find it funny how all these people get replaced.
Hey, what's up guys, Riff here. So in this video, I'm going to be once again talking about the AI-related debate in the VTubing scene. This has been a very hot topic for several weeks at this point, where a lot of virtue signalers are essentially labeling people as the worst things imaginable for using AI in any capacity whatsoever. At this point, I think
while being on Twitter, while being on YouTube, while being on Twitch, while Googling, while using ChatGPT, while using Google's AI, and yes, you don't even have a choice, right? Anyway, you get the idea. Absolute virtue signaling. It's only because it now gets, like, now their financial opportunities are getting cut down, and they can no longer scam people.
it's safe to say we have a serious case of AI derangement syndrome in the VTubing scene. Now, I was going to make a joke based on the acronym for the phrase I just described, but it might be a little too spicy for YouTube. You can work that out for
Get it? Get it? AIDS? AIDS? How did he? Okay, I never realized this. That's the acronym. The acronym for AI derangement syndrome is AIDS.
yourselves and figure out what I was saying. But that is really what's going on here. We're going to see some really inevitable and cringe results of the virtue signaling that we've been talking about coming out in full display. But of course, there's been a lot of lightning rods in this controversy, myself included, with my coverage of everything going on, but also individuals like Leaflet, who provided a free-to-use program that helps bridge the divide between PNG tubing and live 2D, essentially giving people the opportunity to get their VTubing career off the ground for free using AI. We also saw how Skew-chan got roped into this because a related clip from her went viral where she reacted to my video and essentially said she doesn't have a major problem with people using AI. She wasn't even endorsing the usage of AI. She was just saying she doesn't have a big deal with it, and any competent and well-established artist is not threatened by the use of AI. But of course, that was enough to get her brigaded and attacked by the usual suspects. And now today...
Right? It was, by the way, it was literally just, she doesn't care. Moves on.
We arrived at the inevitable conclusion of all this virtue signaling, where now we have artists publicly shaming individuals trying to commission them who made the unforgivable sin of using AI-generated references in their commission request. Not only are they being denied by these artists for doing so, they're now being publicly shamed in the process. We have really reached the zenith of this controversy.
Don't use AI. But don't commission artists either. Wow.
And before we get into the topic of discussion for today, let me give you just a quick rundown of what's been going on the last couple of weeks, because this debate about AI usage in the VTubing scene has involved nothing but virtue signaling and shaming people for the simple concept of using it in any capacity whatsoever. It began by people saying that you're no longer a VTuber if you use AI. I guess stripping someone of their title is what a narcissist like this would think they have the power to do. Then they said using AI makes you a bad person. Then people said using AI at all is a political statement. And then they said using AI is not just a political statement, it makes you a Nazi. Then they said if you're using...
Now that is a new one, but aren't we then all Nazis? Like all of us? Right now I'm streaming on YouTube. Right now, YouTube's using AI. Do we be do we be Nazis here? Is that what this is? I didn't know that. We've come full circle.
Using AI, you're destroying the environment and putting people's lives in danger. Then they said using AI makes you look broke, as these people desperately try to farm pennies of ad.
Bitch, I am broke. I am. It's not like I look broke. I am broke. What is this? Also, financial shaming much?
Revenue on Twitter, which of course involves them using this blue badge that they're paying to use on this platform, which of course funds the AI system on Twitter, which is incredibly ironic. And then we get this result. Now the public shaming of people making simple commission requests. So this artist decided to make this incredible call-out post, getting nearly 3 million views, and eventually locking the comments, as they always do, saying just had to decline a VGen request because the client sent me an AI-generated reference. How hard can it be? As I will clarify a little bit later, this is a very common practice to provide references using AI. I'll give you a peek behind the magician's curtain here. That is very common in the VTubing scene, but this person is now not only denying the commission request, but publicly shaming anyone for doing this unforgivable sin. And it all plays back to the question.
The issue is, right, that people will now, logically, obviously, make sense, decide that they will not talk to artists at all and just straight go to the AI. That is where we are now. You're shooting yourself in the foot. They're shooting themselves in the foot and they just don't even realize it. And you deserve it. They deserve it. They do.
What is the end goal? What is the end goal for these people virtue signaling about AI usage? Because they're saying if you use AI, I'm not going to accept your commission as an artist. And then what are they going to do next? They're going to use AI. So if you want people to hire real artists, why are you turning down people to virtue signal on Twitter? Isn't that very counterproductive to what you're trying to accomplish? But people are dunking on this individual in the replies, saying this, all this will do is discourage them from hiring artists. Congrats, you did a dum-dum. They probably couldn't afford a reference for a while. Losing clients for no reason is insane. And then they reply with this image right here. And then another user says, LOL, this has to be bait. I really hope you don't go complaining about not having money and getting commissions, because now instead of them using a real artist, they will probably just keep using the AI. You only further people not wanting to work with you and others with this mentality. And of course, if you look at their accounts, commissions open. It's always commissions open. All of the artists virtue signaling about this stuff, there is a 9 out of 10 chance their
commissions open, barely any commissions. That's usually how it goes. That's usually how it goes. I'm assuming barely any following, little to no posts. I'm gonna say this, if you don't have a big social media presence, you're kind of fucked as an artist. I'm gonna be real.
commissions are wide open because they can't find people to work with because no one wants to commission them. So this person actually gets someone to commission them and they deny them and publicly shame them to get likes on Twitter, virtue signaling about AI usage. Here's another reply saying it's a effing reference, a reference, with 6,600 likes ratioing the initial post. And this person is entirely correct. It's just a reference. Okay, again, peek behind the magician's curtain here. AI references for art commissions is very common. And I'm not going to make this really personal or anything, but I've worked with plenty of artists where I provided AI-related references. They accepted those commissions, had no problem with it for years, and now they're joining the bandwagon virtue signaling about AI usage. The irony is incredible, but
Kind of interesting because I know that Chaos Creator does they do make AI like music using AI, so that's interesting. Huh, funny to see them here.
very expected for people who care about all this virtue signaling and nonsense. Here's another reply saying that's your problem. Don't complain when you lose customers. You lot are so obsessed with AI. He just wanted to show you his idea to an artist because he doesn't have the skills, which is normal given that he's contacting you. Yeah, isn't that the whole point? They're turning to an artist because they're not an artist themselves. They have no way to display what they want from you, so they're using AI to give you a reference point. It's a reference. And yet they do this. Here's another reply saying, LOL, and y'all wonder why people are migrating away from you, insufferable people. And then they reply with this SpongeBob gif, very serious individual, but I would ask them, do you have the rights to this SpongeBob image? Do you have the proper rights to be using this? Oh my goodness. But of course, they did the normal thing. They locked the replies, and then they quote themselves saying, free block list, LOL. Thank you for the 2,000 plus people who believe AI has no place in VTubing. Using a commission piece in AI to generate ideas is never okay. There are tons of ways to get references that don't involve AI. Yeah, I guess hiring an artist to make you a reference so then you can turn to another artist and use that previous reference to get new art. Yeah, very simple.
That's the only that there's two ways: you draw it yourself or you do that. The other one is just expensive, and the other one doesn't probably get the result that you want.
But this person acts like getting likes on Twitter means you're right, which would mean they're wrong under that logic because they were getting ratioed by so many people to the point of having to lock their replies. But no, you're getting likes from a bunch of activists and virtue signalers. It means nothing. They're hollow. The support means nothing. There's a reason your commissions are still open. It's because ultimately the customers don't really care for your mentality and feel slighted, or they feel hesitant to even want to commission you in the first place because you might publicly call them out over wrongthink while rejecting them. But of course, this is really the most simple way to respond to all of this. You people are so pathetic because all of this is so pathetic. How much these people hate AI is insane. They hate it more than anything else. I'm genuinely convinced.
It's simple, right? It's simple. If you don't want people to commission you, and they go afterwards and use AI, you cannot complain that they are using AI. Because you caused these circumstances. If you don't want to work with somebody because you don't like what they say, and they turn to AI, that is a you problem. You cannot complain. Same situation. It really is that simple. If somebody commissions you, for example, that whose gender you don't want to be commissioned by, because there is quite a few artists here, VTuber artists, right, that don't do anything for dudes. And they turn to AI. Then you cannot complain. It really breaks down to the choice. It really breaks down to choice. You have the choice, and if you don't want to participate in this, there's no problem. You can move on, right? There's no issue whatsoever. You can just live your life, but don't complain. Don't complain when others do. When others go for AI, when you refuse to do what they would have wanted you to do. It's that simple. Cannot complain about no money. Cannot complain about usage of AI. You cause it.
That they hate AI usage more than criminals at this point. I mean, tell me if I'm wrong at this point. But let's look at some more virtue signaling posts relating to this topic. Another individual saying, the absolute bliss I feel every time I block a VTuber who thinks you.
Fun fact. I said this before, but fun fact. Twitter works like this. The more you block people, here's a fun fact. The more you block people, the more you're killing your own reach because Twitter punishes you. The more people you have blocked, and the more people block you, right? You can block somebody into irrelevance on Twitter. That does work, right? You could mass block somebody and they would flag you. right? That can happen. However, you mass block, you can also be flagged, which cancels your reach. These people are shooting themselves in the foot.
Using generative AI is in any way justified. AI sloppers named Sir Dumbf, the Dragon Lord, will come here using nothing but slurs to make a point and think I'm not gonna point and laugh, giving me free dopamine when I reply bleh and block you. Ooh, shiver me timbers. This person is quite the tough customer over here. Wow. Look out for this individual. They might say bleh and then block you and get some free dopamine. I'm sorry if you're getting free dopamine from blocking people on Twitter, seek help. But also, what is this? I mean, what are we doing? Do you really feel that strongly about all this? Like, are you gonna have the same attitude for like a grandma using AI to make like a cat meme or something? But the thing is, too, great name. Sir Dumbf, the Dragon Lord? If someone hasn't taken that name already, please go ahead and do so. And also, you haven't blocked me yet, so feel free to do that. Give yourself a little dopamine rush. Feel good about blocking people on social media. I'm right here waiting for you. Totally good. Go for it.
I think it's more so sad. Actually, I think it's more so sad. Like, if this is what you're looking forward to throughout your day, that must be a pretty sad life, because you've got nothing going on. There's nothing going on in your life if that is giving you like a dopamine rush. You must be that unemployed.
It'll help you out. I'm feeling charitable today. I want to give you some dopamine, so go ahead and do that. But here's some more from this individual saying, my fellow VTubers, please don't use generative AI for your content creation. They're speaking like it's a presidential address or something, like you're an artist. Chill out. I will never stop preaching this. Artists are the backbone of the VTubing sphere. If you respect your artists who drew and or rigged your model, then refrain from using AI slop for your other content. There are so many artists on VGen who fit to any type of budget. And if you don't have anything to spend, then there are also so many wonderful free resources and assets created by hardworking artists for you. Respect your artists and stop using AI that gets fed with stolen art. It's funny how they always say, go find free resources.
It's interesting they say stolen. So so if I take reference as an artist from another piece of art, am I stealing? If I replicate an art style, am I stealing? I just have questions, right? Let's say I draw my character in an outfit that another character has. Is that stealing? Because I have right? Because there's essentially no piece of art out there that doesn't, in some way, shape, or form, that is inspired by something that just doesn't exist. So how do we move with that?
But not like that. When they turn to something like Leaflet's program, right? They don't mean just use whatever free resources you can. It's only the approved ones that fit their narrative. But ultimately, if you go to this user's account and you start searching through the following list, you see a lot of names, including VTubers have no issue with using AI whatsoever. But of course, you get the inevitable follow, which is Veedle. Yeah, that was a big topic of conversation with the Leaflet arc of all this, where she is criticizing people who are virtue signaling about AI usage but still support Neurosema, and they try to convince you every which way that it's completely different. But these people, they don't stand on their morals. They follow people who use AI or have it as a part of their content. And, well, is that really surprising? But here's Madame Savvy with a reply to this artist saying, does this really work for you? I'm a career artist and seeing this constantly is annoying. Just draw. Just go hire people. You don't need a virtue signal daily. The people who are going to hire artists are going to keep doing it. The people who look for alternatives were always going to do it. But it really does feel like you type just use artists as goodwill points. Instead of bitching about AI, why don't you make promotion posts about other artists? Ah, but you mentioned you care about engagement with the blue check. Of course you do. You're a business. And you know, posts promoting artists never get the same kind of attention as posts like this. And that is a very...
That is also very true. Honestly, I think if you're an artist on social media, you have no other choice but to make content yourself. Right? I think you have no other choice. And even if it's just like drawing streams or whatever, right? But like I feel like you have no other choice, right? Because how else would you get your art out there unless somebody, somebody big enough shouts you out? That's all there's to it, really.
Good point. All of these people who condemn AI and say support real artists, they never make an actual effort to promote real artists. All they do is shame people for using AI. They don't actually provide a solution or anything that helps their supposed cause.
True, now that he mentions it, we've been 4 videos into this, right? We've been 4 videos into it, and not a single time an artist was mentioned, right? They were like, oh, I have a friend, she makes like models for under 1,000, under $500. Well, can you tag them? Can you tell them who who it is? Maybe because this friend does not actually exist.
It's all about shaming, it's all about cloud farming, and again, blue check mark every single time. You're literally paying Twitter for that badge so you can farm ad revenue through your tweets.
The theory might be a B thought. Moving on.
Through engagement, and you're funding AI, you're funding Grok, which creates generative AI. If you stood on your principles, you would not pay for this blue checkmark. You would not give Elon Musk and this platform your money every month if this is truly how you feel. But of course, let's get one more, just showing the pathetic nature of this entire situation. This artist says, stop using AI for your games and art. Hire real...
That's already happening, but that's already happening, is it not? That is already happening, right? Like a bunch of insiders that work in gaming should have said, hey, they're already, like 80% of them are already using AI, and honestly, they are, right? There's probably already software out there who's like, type in place grass over this field, and the AI just does it. They already are, right? We've seen this with Resident Evil. They already are.
Artists, yep, just like that, AI was completely defeated and all the artists have been supported. Now, of course, they got a lot of backlash, and what did they do? Oh, they locked the replies, as you can see. But one of their mutuals said, whoa, you made a hit tweets. And then they replied, with the replies locked, saying, the AI supporter's trying to attack me, Pookie. Which is hilarious. First of all, look at the discrepancy in the number of likes. 16 replying to a response on their own tweet. The initial one getting 8,800. 8,800 versus 16. And isn't this rich? This person picks a fight and then immediately becomes the victim of their own situation that they created, saying they're being attacked.
It's always, oh no, the consequences of my own actions. It's like, make stupid statement, gets criticized for it. I'm the victim. I'm being attacked.
You threw the first punch. Now you're crying and locking the replies because people are responding and dunking on you. Many such cases, ladies and gentlemen. But like I said, there's a real case of AI derangement syndrome going on in the VTubing
AIDS
scene. And if you don't like AI, that's fine. But this level of just nauseating virtue signaling and often very hypocritical virtue signaling is something that should be mocked, something that should be talked about. And I have absolutely no qualms about doing so, right? That's why we're here. But anyways, that's going to do it for this video. If you enjoyed, please consider giving the video a like, consider subscribing and turning on notifications for daily uploads, as well as multiple streams every week live here on YouTube. But overall...
True. You should do that for me as well. You should do that for me as well, right? Right? Like and subscribe. We stream daily. Anyway, Yeah, this whole thing, in my opinion, in my humble opinion, boils down to one thing and one thing only. People will feel threatened because now they are replaceable. That is all what it comes down to. I'm not talking about like the big artists. We know that like big artists, you don't see these people cry and bitch and moan, right? You don't see that. You only see smaller artists because their art, frankly, is in fact actually I do believe competing with AI because eventually AI is going to be way better than that, right? They are competing with something that is more affordable than they are because, well, every time anywhere there's artists, people roll out the red carpet, and of course, right? Of course, um, that is now stopped. They don't like that, right? I feel like if there's one thing gatekeeping VTubing the most, I think it is probably artists. Honestly, it is probably artists. Anyway, wonderful, wonderful seeing these people cry. That's all.